Speaker, I would like to ask the Treasury Minister what mechanisms are in place to ensure the Treasury is aware of escalating price challenges for families and businesses.
Treasury Minister should reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, a bit deja vu, but since summer 2021 there has been a heavy focus on price inflation due to a number of factors around the economic recovery from COVID-19. Since that time, the outbreak of the conflict in Ukraine and the introduction of severe sanctions against Russia, one of the world's largest energy suppliers, has led to acute concerns around energy prices, with this concern being reflected in volatile oil, gas and other commodity prices in particular. This volatility is already feeding through into many aspects of Ireland life, including prices of groceries and grow fuels. The main way in which these price changes are monitored is through the inflation reporting carried out by Statistics Isle of Man. This allows government to assess with a reasonably short lag time the impact that global events are having on prices here in the Isle of Man. Of course, the current situation represents a major challenge not seen in recent years. For this reason, Treasury is currently undertaking additional work in this space to consider the potential impacts on residents and businesses alongside what mitigations may be appropriate.
Question, Mr. Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for that reassuring answer at this troubling time. The additional support which has been given to help deal with the increasing energy prices has been really positive. How many people have benefited, and what has been the cost for this initiative? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, should reply.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I gave the costs around the winter bonus in the answer to the previous question. In terms of the number of people that have actually benefited, it's 3,500 people approximately that have benefited and received a payment of one-off winter bonuses.
Mr. Thomas.
Has the Treasury outsourced or delegated the work to investigate the impact of price inflation on families and businesses either to Statistics Isle of Man or to a private consultant? And secondly, how is the Treasury making sure that it doesn't end up being conflicted in terms of carrying out the analysis and working out the response in terms of social security and use of its funds?
No, Mr. Speaker, there's been no outsourcing in the terms of the work, and in relation to Treasury being conflicted, not at all, Mr. Speaker. Treasury works as one unit, and our aim is to look to see which way we can support residents best. Some of that might be through the benefit system, and some of it might be through our needs.
Question, Mr. Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Minister appeared eager with energy support to try to overcome cliff edges and broaden the support package to include more people. Is this an area he's hoping to extend his April statement, as many people in this group are really struggling, and it's kind of that support they're looking for, and hopefully can send that positive message? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In relation to that, again, I'm not going to preempt what I may or may not say in another place in April, but one of the things I would say is that anything that comes forward, we definitely have to look at cliff edges. It was something I railed about both in this house and another place when I was a backbencher, so it would be rather hypocritical now for me to come back and not look at things like that. I think that's one of the issues with the benefit system, is the fall away. What we did with the winter bonus was we tried to ease that cliff edge by having the variable rate bonus, and that would definitely need to feed into any thinking we may do around support to households, because it is not very equitable where someone may be £1 out and they suddenly receive no support compared to the person who's £1 lower.
Question, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Treasury has delegated statistics work to Isle of Man Statistics. Has it taken back that delegation, or is Isle of Man Statistics carrying out this investigation of the impact of prices for Treasury? And secondly, has Treasury or Isle of Man Statistics taken forward the work that's been programmed for quite some time now to actually put together an inflation index for poorer people, poorer households, pensioners, or it sounds like companies now as well?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think we need to clarify Isle of Man Statistics provides information to Treasury, but the policy decision and the policy development all rest within Treasury. We have not outsourced any of that, which was the honourable member's first question, certainly the way I interpreted it. And in relation to how we proceed, like I said, I'll be going into more detail in my April statement, and I'm not going to preempt that.
Question, Mr. Warrenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could the Treasury Minister tell us if any special dispensations being made for those people who require dialysis at home or electric wheelchairs, that they get extra help? Thank you.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I thank my honourable colleague Douglas North for that question. The answer at the moment is no, but that is something that may need to be looked at as part of the round.
Mr. Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many of these small island businesses, which may be added so special, were almost decimated during the last 2 years. Many of these entrepreneurs are dependent on discretionary spend, and as people are cutting back, this is an area that is becoming a greater concern. And many have already paid the tax bills and they're really struggling. Is this an area that the Minister is looking at with enterprise to hopefully find some possible solutions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So in relation to those who are corporate taxpayers, they only pay tax on their profit, and this is due 1 year and 1 day following the end of their accounting period. So for example, where the accounting period ended on the 31st December 2020, the liability will be due on the 1st of January 2022, and there is no payment on account for corporate taxpayers. Self-employed taxpayers are assessed on their profits, less any allowable deductions. Tax liabilities for individuals are due on the 6th of January following the year of assessment. Individuals who do not pay their tax in monthly instalments via their tax code may be asked to make a payment on account on the 6th of January in a tax year, which I assume is what the honourable members getting at. The payment on account is deducted from the overall liability when assessed and is based on the last year's liability. The payment on account can, however, be held over if the estimated liability is anticipated to be lower. However, if the liability is not paid and ultimately due, there could be interest charged on any late payment. Employers deduct ITIP and NI from salaries on a monthly basis and do not pay anything in advance. In addition, any person who is struggling from lack of funds can always contact the Income Tax Division to discuss any payment options, and I would urge them to do so.
Question 2.